like at first I thought the style was kind of visually interesting, but it just ended up all looking so flat.
Man, it was a struggle on this one, but
I think so.
we did it. Doesn't feel enthused about itself, man.
No,
It
does not.
feels like it's just dragging its heels as it quietly steps into its grave.
Hi, hello, this is Jules the Human here, and welcome to the Jules and Matt Anime Hour. I'm one of your hosts, Jules the Human, and every week we go out into the world and watch a little bit of anime, and then we come back here and talk about it. And today is the final time we're going to be talking about Shine On Bakumatsu Bad Boys, an anime that was suggested by one of you here. And if you would like to get another anime added to the anime chest, today only, hot sale, fire sale, it can possibly be picked out today by the end of the episode. Donate a $5 super chat or 500 bits on Twitch, $5 super chat on YouTube where we're streaming, or 500 bits on Twitch. And that goes both to me and Matt. You get an anime pick, gets put in, possibly gets picked out by the end, because we're going to rank Shine On Bakumatsu Bad Boys. Was it a good anime? Is this anime worth watching? We're going to let you know. We watched it, so you don't have to. And I didn't go on this journey alone because I am joined by my co-host, Matt Galley. Matt, how are you doing this week?
I'm doing very well. I'm so excited to talk about these last 4 episodes so we can pick something new. And I'm so excited to watch anything else, to be honest.
Sure.
I really thought that, coming into this, it was gonna be something that was exactly up my alley, exactly what I wanted. But man, don't judge a book by its cover. Don't judge an anime by its
trailer,
splash art trailer, whatever you want to say. Yeah, just by first appearances, because man, it was a struggle on this one. But we did it. We watched it. We have our opinions to talk about, and that's what we're gonna do here today.
I think the problem as well is just because I didn't absolutely hate it. And I think that's the main problem with me, where it doesn't sit right with me, because I'm not absolutely like, fuck this show, fuck whatever. It's like, oh man, I had some cool little somethings, maybe.
Yeah, there was
something's there.
There was stuff to like in this show, but it was like, if you take a little turd and put some sprinkles on it, it's just a turd covered in sprinkles.
I think that's what we got here with this anime. But we're going to talk about it. We're going to get into it. Remember, you can suggest an anime throughout the show. Let us know what you like. If you watch the anime, let us know what you liked, what you didn't like. But by the end, we're going to pick a brand new one to watch together, because that's the way the show works. Let's get into it, because we got a lot to talk about, a lot to cover. Episode 9, Ponder, a person's thoughts and a demon's thoughts. What happened in episode 9?
Ichiban Boshi and the Shinsengumi promise Kyoto's population that they will help them recover. Toto's wounds begin to heal, and Sogen acknowledges the facade that he's been putting up as a villain. Akira shares her past with Katsuda, and Sakuya confides his past with Ichiban Boshi. The leader of the demon cult sends Tsukito after Shozan, who begins to break Tsukito's worldview, before leaving behind a hint for the Shinsengumi with his dying breath, revealing a plot to destroy the foreigner ships.
Yeah, so everything, as we come back to this episode, everything's still on fire. Ichiban Boshi is still trying to get to his brother, still calling him Rashimaru, because he ain't recovered in my books. He's saying, you're not alone in this, brother. And we see as well Toto having some sort of survivor's guilt still, as being this only surviving of the Shinsengumi people, leaders. And that's another character I really wish we could have maybe explored a little bit more. I mean, he was just the I guess the crux of how we got our crew of mischievous members, but I really wish we could have got into like his sort of what he did in the past. Like what were the Shinsengumi at the height of it, and how did they die?
Exactly. Well, we know
we
how
see them.
They died, but it's just like, yeah, we don't know who they are. Like we didn't
Exactly.
know,
We didn't even
like
see their faces.
there's no connection to, oh, you're the substitute for so and so, and it's just there's no connection there. Why do people think Ichiban Boshi is like that other guy? Like what,
Bro,
like why? If you were able to draw those parallels for us, it might have been more compelling, but it's just like it's just a name to a sword.
hit me with some while Toto's looking at Ichiban Boshi and he's doing one of those things that reminds him of some of the one of the old guys that encompasses his sword. Hit me with a flashback of Toto and the other guy just like vibing and doing something, and like,
Or
oh,
just
and we get that connection.
their greatness compared to, like, oh, this is just like that time this person did something very like this, flashback to that moment.
Please, that would have been like, oh, because then we would have characterized those guys that were the Shinsengumi before. We would have put like connection with Toto and made him a more important character than I think he is. Because I see what they're trying to do. The Shinsengumi is trying to rebuild. Toto has these sort of sometimes things in each episode where it's like, I gotta, do the thing. I gotta lead this group. How do I do it? How do I continue the line of Shinsengumi and help out the greater good? But I think it could have been a lot more, and I really wanted to see more from Toto. But what we got is a lot from Akira and talking to what's his name, Katsura.
Katsuda.
At this point on this episode is when I started to the Bechdel bells are starting to ring here for me. I think, is that what it's called? Where why is it that in this episode Katsura is like, yo, you should marry me and all this stuff, like we're gonna get married also, but I'm like, why is it that the one female character storyline seems to
Yep.
sort of revolve around this dude?
Yep.
And I just start to be like, this ain't great.
Yeah.
I'm like, because it was fine starting her off. We got some good.
That was my thing with in the last episode, where I was like, that's what I was kind of saying, where it's like, sure, she's not exactly like, denying his advances outright, whereas when Ichiban Boshi kind of looked at her with hard eyes, she like put a knife to his throat. This guy outright kissed her and she like let it happen. So it's like, sure, it's, I guess she's giving consent by not saying no,
Sure.
but yeah, it's just like the only female character, the only girl character we get, and that's what she's kind of just, she's sidelined as the a potential wife of this lord of a region.
When she has sword skills and when she's as capable as all the other ones, her
If not more
storyline
capable.
feels more capable, as we've seen probably.
Mhm.
Yeah, correct.
She's the
And
one that like Toto immediately was like, I want you training everybody.
yeah,
So
yeah, she was training the other people how to use their sword. And it feels in this episode was when I really started to feel like, oh, they're just gonna, like, we're in episode 9. We gotta get going with the storyline. And the storyline is that, he's coming on to her and Katsura is like, we should get married and I want you to be mine. Also, I'm like, she could have been so much more. Like she should have been so much more than that. I was like, what the fuck?
Yep. I thought they were going to be set up as like rivals initially, but then it's like
That could be
she's
good.
meeting him in secret and stuff, and then it's just I get what they're doing with his character. Like I get his character. He's supposed to be like somebody that should be with the like the defectors, but he doesn't want unnecessary blood to be drawn type
Mhm.
deal. But it's just the whole romance subplot with the two of them feels completely shoehorned in, especially with how like overt it is with that for sure.
Hello, Rosie. Hello, everybody watching live on YouTube or Twitch. Says, take the lady out to dinner first.
Yeah.
Literally, take her out. They haven't even gone on a date or anything. He just kissed her, and now he's like, "You're my bride." And it's like, what is this? What is this about? We get in this episode Sakuya actually coming out and coming clean about him killing his father to Damboshi, and his mother ended up killing herself. And I was like, they're just gonna skip over that little part. I mean, that's fine. I don't want to stay on it, but I was just like, he killed his father and then his mom killed herself.
Yeah.
I mean, There's a lot in that
with the dynamic of how that
relationship was.
relationship was, she probably would have been killed anyways,
Sure.
because like he said, like a samurai's wife's one duty is to like stay loyal to him or whatever. So she'd probably be looked at as responsible for letting her child kill a samurai.
Yeah. And I noted as well, as I was watching that this should have been the time, like we were talking about in previous episodes, where they gave us a lot and the audience knows, but Ichiban Boshi doesn't know. And it was like, okay, it's going to come out at some point. But this should have been the time. Like we should have only heard him in the past say, I killed my father. And we would have been left in the dark along with Ichiban Boshi. And then now in episode 9, we should have been let in, oh, I actually killed him because so and so, and they rehashed it here, but we already knew that, and so it's just a rehashing for the sake
Exactly.
of Ichiban Boshi, and it's like,
Which is
okay,
why that withholding part of the information from the audience just makes it feel redundant, because then when we're revisiting the concept, when the reveals have to happen later, it's only a development for the character, not for the audience.
like this
Which
would have been
the
the perfect time. Like,
audience experience should matter more than the character's experience.
sure, it would have been the perfect time, even in episode 9. Like that would have been fine if we went this whole time being like, oh, he killed his dad because he'd be killing people. He's on 1,000 kills already. And it just reveals here like, oh, I did it for her, I did it for this because he did this, whatever, all that stuff. But then he notes as well to Ichiban Boshi, like that they told him that you will see the world differently after you kill 1,000 people. He ends up not seeing it differently, but then he ends up like smiling with Ichiban Boshi and saying that he's going to start counting the people that he saved. So that's kind of some good story development there. It's just a little clunky in the way that it got to it, I think, because they end
I
up
agree.
getting together, and that's what we wanted at the beginning. But like, it's just a little clunky.
The execution.
The execution is a little odd. Yeah. Rashimaru is tasked to kill Ichiban Boshi. Sakuma Shozen was targeted, transforming souls into swords from an underworld deity. So we get like our first kind of confirmation that this is something supernatural. We know something supernatural has been going on, but it's just saying, literally, they say transforming souls into swords through underworld deities. And now we have type 0 weapons to take down all the countries. And they're going to blow up some foreign ships. So now we figure out like what's actually going on, that this is a lot bigger than this little area, that this is supposed to be a world thing. So now we go into episode 10, defend the Black American ships. What happens in episode 10?
The Shinsengumi are deployed to defend the foreign ship in the bay. More lords are being pressured into joining forces with the demon cult, who board and take the black ship. The Shinsengumi are able to catch up, but the Zero type weapons are deployed and used to destroy it. Ichiban Boshi and Tsukito are thrown overboard, with Ichiban Boshi rescuing his brother from drowning. Wow.
Yay.
What an episode. It's like an episode that started and ended. I mean, that sure, there's a development. There's a development. But
what is it? What is that? What's
like,
that?
and that's that the word spreads that the type 0 weapons can destroy the American ships or whatever, the foreign ships. And I don't know if this one is trying to do it, but there actually was an event in during this time period where American ships fired at a port town as a show of force, and that's when they like were able to open trade up with them. It was like open trade, or we're going to continue to just bombard the town. Type deal. I'm pretty sure that's what it was, or it was about to happen and it didn't happen. But there was an actual like incident, pretty similar to this. So again, the show just takes these, to me, taking events from like history and just trying to recontextualize it under, oh, the demon cult was behind it the whole time.
Which I don't know is great.
Like, yeah, I don't know if that's the greatest way to handle it, because it just, for me, it just shows a lack of like, originality in its storytelling, where it's just being safe. And I get the idea that history is written by the winners and all that, so the people who won could have always just said, oh, there's no demon cult there. It was just another day. So
The part that really hit me in this episode, where it's like they're really trying to hammer home that this is maybe a history anime that can be played in history classes, is when, I don't know who it was. I think it was the doctor. Like, they just do a long shot of him, and they're like talking about Sakuma Shozen and about how great he is. And they're just like a long shot as they're running, and then he's like, Sakuma Shozen was one of the most brilliant men in the world. And it just like stays on him. I'm like, okay, bro, like, we get it. He
and then
was
you
a
have
real
Ichiban
person.
Boshi. There's still so much I wanted to learn from him.
Yeah, and it's like, what are you trying to
And it's
do?
like,
Like,
sure, like I mentioned in the first 4 episodes that we did, like how influential of a person that was. But it's
sure,
just like, again, the show
definitely.
doesn't feel like it carries the weight and the impact of that
No.
applied contextually with how the
Yeah.
show's narrative is playing out.
What I'm saying is nothing against the person that
No, yeah, yeah.
has been alive and
It's
this
the,
is
the
based
the
off.
character and how these characters are perceiving that character.
In just the way that we're moving from bombing the American ships with these long range weapons that are infused with souls, and then we take a pause to just talk about history a little bit, and I'm like, this is weird. This is a little odd. This is definitely different than what other animes do. Is it good? I don't
Which
know.
comes
Am I
back for
learning?
me to
Kinda.
calling it like a grab bag of just all of these different ideas to see what sticks, but then ultimately they don't know what to commit to. So you get too much of nothing good.
Yeah,
It's
because
all it's
like,
all just surface level stuff.
even this epic fight that was supposed to be on the boat, like, I'm here, they're speeding through because of an electrified boat motor sort of thing, and it's like, cool, dope, epic landing, here we are, and everybody goes down in like one swish
Something
of the
that
sword.
like that boat shot reminded me of was like, it really had the potential to be more fun like this consistently. But they
Yeah.
don't do enough stuff like this that's just fun and silly consistently. Kind of like how Assassin's Creed took Leonardo da Vinci and all of his crazy contraptions and like made them work in the context of Assassin's Creed. You're rolling around in all of his and flying around in his inventions and doing wacky, goofy stuff, and it's just
Yeah.
fun. And it knows that it's twisting history and it's just going with it. But I feel like this show just wants to be like, oh, we're twisting history. Oh, but we still want to we don't want to go too far. We can't leave it permanently twisted. We got to let go
Yeah.
at some point and let it.
Be
Like, dude, just
extravagant.
do it. Just do it. Just go for it.
Mm,
Like, who cares? That's how it feels with the kind of like the whole power system of their swords like shining and stuff. Like, just go with a full-on transformation sequence or something. Have that spirit of them, just like the spirit of the person that was using the sword before, like project out of it. Like, just do something. Be more fun, be more interesting, because it's not giving me enough to want to stay engaged with it.
mhm.
Because it's just like nothing feels rewarding or satisfying for payoff.
We get some more boat duel. The Choshu are returning fire from the American ships that they think is Americans and all this stuff, Type Zero weapons. The ultimate goal is to encourage war. We get the re-showing of the brother killing the mom clip again here after we've seen it maybe twice already. And it's like,
The recycling of the flashbacks drive me insane. Every time we see a flashback, it's them just reusing footage we've already seen, and we've talked about this so many times. Every second there's something on the screen, it's a second that's taking up its runtime. I actually want to almost go back and see how much of this show is pure flashback sequences, because holy shit, man.
I also was thinking about anime in general, because in this show they did it as well, where there's like, what happened on the last episode, here's what happened on the last episode, let me remind you. Here we
Bridge.
go into it is a bridge, and then we go into the title sequence. Now, I think that is definitely for like TV syndication of a show where it's
But not
like
on a made for streaming service anime.
that's exactly what I was going with. I was saying, like, I think me thinking about anime in general with those long form anime like Dragon Ball Z, like that stuff you have reruns showing on TV all the time.
Yeah,
But and you needed that little, okay, where are we at in the story? Oh shit, I forgot these episodes. I'm here now, whatever. And I can jump into the episode. But now on this show that was made a couple years ago that I'm almost certain is not on a TV, like I feel like they're going through the anime motions, but they don't really know why they're doing it, and that's kind of what
exactly.
it feels like, because
Exactly.
it's like you don't need to do the recap if I'm trying to binge this on Crunchyroll. Like, where this is going on Crunchyroll on a streaming service. We know TV's gone. Like, if you're making new stuff, we don't need that little flashback in the beginning, and that's kind of what it is with the reshowing of the clips and stuff. Like, we
Yeah,
know we're watching the show intentionally. You don't need to keep showing us the thing that we saw a couple episodes ago and not change it or not make it interesting. I mean, the one thing that they did make interesting here was that they did put into my brain that maybe he didn't kill his mom. And I was like, okay, maybe
sure. Yeah.
there's a little bit of that. But
But again, it's just for me, it's one of those things that just withholding the information for sake of pretending that that development's impactful.
mhm.
Like the show very much directs you into believing that that's what happened, that he killed his mom, because like it shows his reaction in the seconds after the sword is thrown down in front of him. But then as we get like the newer flashback sequences, that little bit is just completely like removed, and then it's just like, oh, so like you were just lying before. Like
Oh, you were lying to
you're just
me.
lying.
Oh, okay.
So
Um,
it's like sure, like whatever, but not like, again, it's just that's not, you know, that doesn't make it an impactful development.
Speaking of lying, his brother, Ichiban Bochi's brother, Rashimaru, has a lying tell that whenever he is lying, ever since he was a kid, he raises his eyebrow a little bit. And my question is, why didn't Ichiban Boshi notice this before? Why is this the first time that we're noticing this thing, or mentioning it? I guess I don't know. Maybe it's the first time that he thought about it, but we get that. That's really important by the end. And Ichiban Boshi saves his brother from drowning, and he gets away, leading us into episode 11, Rush to the Kyoto Showdown. What happens in episode 11?
Tensions begin to grow more with word of the Type Zero weapons destroying the Black Ship. Tsukito attempts to leave the cult but is taken hostage instead. Katsuda reveals to the Shinsengumi that there's a defector in the royal court acting in favor of the cult. At the same time, they triangulate their HQ location. Suchi Mikado is revealed to be the ringleader of the cult, and Tsukito is used as the vessel for Harura Kira's resurrection.
Harura Kira-sama. Yeah. Oh boy. What's up, Dan? You made it. We're on episode 11. We're talking about it. This is I mentioned it, but this is where I wrote it down at the start of episode 11. I said, why are they doing a recap? That's where I mentioned, I was like, what the fuck? Why are they doing a recap? We gotta blitz them. So
Let's blitz them.
we gotta blitz them, man. And here we got Rashimaru, and I did pose the question to you about in the past episodes if there was a way to characterize his brother in a good way, possibly in a good light, to make it
Mhm.
seem like maybe he's a good person. And here they're trying to characterize him a little bit, but I didn't feel like it really stuck the landing. It wasn't going too well.
I really feel like the time for that would have been like, I mean, between killing Shozan
Mhm.
and all of the other people that he has for the demon cult, after like promising and pleading that it was him that, killed his mom, man, I don't like him.
Yeah.
Like what, like, like redeemable characters, like the reason, and I'll forever always go back to this, the reason Zuko was so redeemable in Avatar: The Last Airbender was because like we got not only to see his past as a person, but also like he didn't just say like, oh, there's, I want to be good. I don't want to do bad. Like he went through like trials and tribulations and fought to become the person that he did become. And even then, it's like, everybody still questioned him. It wasn't just an immediate, like, hug with open arms. It's like, what's this guy up to? What's this guy up to?
Mhm.
He proved his salt, and he went to great degrees to, kind of absolve himself. Sukito doesn't like do anything close to that. He
No.
just gets told by his brother, like, oh, you can come join us. He gets told by Shozan, like, hey, you got to realize the world's as you know it is coming to an end, and the new world's coming. And uh, guys who just stand around and take orders, there's not going to be a place for them anymore. And then he kills him for that. And he's like, no, it's too late. It's too late. It's too late. And the next time we see him, no, it's not too late. I can leave. And you know what? This guy that sent me to kill all these people and put people in situations that end up with death and destruction,
I am
he's
buying
gonna
it,
let me
bro.
leave with, like hands swiped clean.
Yeah,
Start
like I
over
don't
again.
like I don't care if you didn't kill your mom, you still killed everybody else. Like you're still like, oh man, oh you didn't kill your mom actually. No, I mean you still did kill a lot of people. Dan says I had a bad feeling about the priest from the first time I saw him. Bro, he was on the
Yeah.
bad guy's screen. He was on the screen whenever they do the mid-episode break, which is another thing that doesn't need to appear.
Yep.
But a lot of modern anime has it still. They have the good guys on one screen, and then the welcome back screen is all like the bad guys. So he was on
It
that
was
screen
like
the whole time.
it was Sukito and everyone else, but it wasn't necessarily all bad guys. But
Mm,
it was the
mostly leaning bad.
it was like these are all the Shinsengumi, and then here's all the supporting characters. That's how I saw it.
I
Because there was
immediately saw it as bad guys.
Sukito and uh
The guy Ichiban Boshi's friend that ended up trying to kill him as well. He was on that, where they went drinking together, and then Ichiban Boshi
oh
ended up
yeah,
killing
that
him.
guy was on that. I thought
Mhm.
wait, I thought that was the other guy. I thought that was Lord Aizu or Katamori. And then we also had
There was a lot
Shozan
of
on
them.
that card. But yeah, I
I don't
mean,
know.
other like Tsuchimi Kato, um, had a weird feeling about him from the start for sure, and especially over the fact that he's like in one scene. That's the thing too. It's like he's not even like a character that's set up to like the twist is not compelling. It's like, oh, it's that guy that we saw one other time
Mhm.
that said he had a good feeling about Ichiban Boshi and felt like, Sakuya was more of a weapon than a person. It's just like that's all we got from that guy.
Dan says even aside from that, his purple coloring was very similar to the bad sword colors. I mean, they're trying to help us out, right? There's a ton of characters. They're definitely trying to help us
I
out
have
in
a whole
coloring.
sheet of all the characters' names just within their names in different colors,
Wow.
just to keep my head on straight.
Thumbs up. That we'll never see. And that's okay. We do our work here. On this sort of an animation thing on my end for
Boo.
this episode, I saw these characters running in this episode. I don't remember the running actually, but I put it like as a slideshow. Like, oh, they were
Yeah,
like,
because it was like, all right, everybody go find information, and it showed like just their like 2 frames of them running, and then it showed different like backdrops of different areas that they were running through. That's what I mean when I say that like they cut corners with this show every way they can. Like that's it right there. And it's
I
like if you
remember it
don't
now.
want to make something that's fun to look at, why are you trying to make an anime? That is like fundamentally one of the driving factors that makes this medium interesting, and
If
that's what really ticks me off with this show. It like makes me upset looking at it.
if they were like, Jules, let's make an anime tomorrow. Badass main thing. I want a badass main character. I want some dope fight scenes, and I want for these characters to look cool. and I want them to do some cool, flashy shit, some huge ass powers and shit. That's like the main thing that I'm looking for, and maybe most people are looking for,
I
is
mean, if
for
you're
the
gonna
thing to
give us
look cool.
if you're gonna give us an anime with again all of these different characters that have all of these admittedly kind of unique, distinct characteristics and different fighting styles and stuff, you gotta capitalize on that, man. And there's no like by the end of it, they all fight exactly the same. They rush in, they do their little attack, and then the fight's done. It's like it's not dynamic to watch, and it would have been so cool if like that we had different fight scenes that were like being played out in different ways depending on like the different combinations of characters you have. Like
Yeah,
lean into the whole I'm sorry, losing it, Power Rangers aspect, because that's the thing, all the Power Rangers had different weapons and that's what made it cool, all the different fight scenes and different ways that they would use their weapons.
they should have made one big sword to take out the guy. Just all their swords combined. Whom? Rosie said the budget went into adding the million different side characters.
The
True.
budget went into the final episode when you get a bunch of different 3D animated people rushing a castle at the same time. That's the most things in motion you get with this show, is like the final scene where it's like, oh, we get to see a bunch of characters who ultimately it doesn't really matter what they're doing, rushing in to that look actually like they've been animated. But outside of that, we don't get anything that gets more of like more than 5 frames.
We get
Even like I think it was in this episode too, where like you literally get Gitaro's voice actor laughing in a moment where he's still mouthed. His mouth is not moving, but his voice actor's laughing, and it's just holding the still frame of him and Bo, and he's laughing, and I'm just looking at it like, why? Who signed? I'm sorry, who signed off on this?
You just got the
Actually,
mic.
like who watched this in their studio's little boardroom and said, "Yep, the people are gonna love this one." Like, I'm sorry,
Yeah. We
I'm
cooked
sorry,
here.
we might be cooked.
We might be cooked, actually. Guns are spirit weapons in this episode. The weapons taint people's souls. Kogoro's people died so that they can serve as ammunition for the spirit weapons, which I thought was kind of crazy. They were all just there and be like, no, we'll take it. He's a ventriloquist. That's a true talent. Actually, yeah, Rosie. Maybe that's his true talent that didn't get explained at all. Ventriloquism. Tsuchi Mikado was the masked one who killed the Shinsengumi all those years ago. There's a force field, and we get the resurrection of Haru Akira-sama. Oh boy, it's that big guy again. How are we gonna do it? Leading into episode 12, Shine On, the Shinsengumi of Criminals. What happens in episode 12, the final episode of Shine On, the Bakumatsu Bad Boys.
Haruda Kira tosses Ichiban Boshi and Sakuya around. Both of them decide to just keep on trying. It takes the combined effort of the Shinsengumi to take down Haruda Kira, with Tsuchi Mikado throwing himself into a fire in front of Toto, his spirit bolstering Haruda Kira's resurrection. Tsukito, however, would drive a blade through himself, ending the resurrection, and the Shinsengumi go on to fight for the capital another day. The end. Yay. It's over. The best part.
Did
I miss anything?
I mean, no. You could have put some
I'm
put some
sorry.
more enthusiasm into that ending,
I'm
but
sorry. It's just
there are so many soulless.
it doesn't feel enthused about itself, man.
No,
it feels like it's just dragging its heels as it quietly steps into its grave.
Sakuya changes into the big Onmyoji. Oh no. Turns into the big what's it called? Haruo Akira. Damboshi broke his fucking hand, bro. This is where that whole conversation was. I said it happened in episode 10, but Sakuya was saying that he'll count the number of lives he saved, unless that was like, I guess, the same sort of thing.
It's like
about
the last conversation you were talking about was when he asked him to do that instead, and then he smiled.
Oh,
and he's like, okay. "Oh, you smiled. I've never seen that." And this is when he's like, yes, I will do that, and I don't need this necklace anymore.
The souls are regenerating the bodies. The Shinsegae broke down the whole thing. It would seem pretty easy for them to do it. I don't know. It was fine, I guess. They got it. I mean, it's just so odd that in an anime with so much anime badass cool swords, we got a bunch of colors here. Boom, pop, pop. Look at all these characters. They just whoop, okay, you're dead. Whoop, every single time. And I'm like,
Yeah,
just
man,
give us
that's what
some
I'm
like
saying.
how did you learn to fight that quickly with these samurai swords when it could just, I mean, they could put up a kind of a fight? Do we not have time for it? We could have cut out a lot of those flashbacks and put some time into them fighting, because every single time they get on screen and they're ready to do a badass fight, I'm like, oh, here we go. Shoom. And then they're down.
And
And I'm
it's
like,
over.
man, bro, here it
And
is.
it's like, we poke fun, the community can poke fun at, like, when like something like Dragon Ball Z, you have like a fight going on for several episodes where all they're doing is just throwing, big ol' attacks at each other. But shows like this really just make me want that part of my monkey brain to like actually get something, because it's like, it's exactly that. You have all this build up and energy into an event, and then there's just no spectacle behind it. There's nothing visually interesting, and like I feel like it just washes over my brain, and I'm just like, oh, it's done. Like I'm left physically like just shocked by like how quickly it's just like, all right, and moving on. Like there you go. And it's
Yep.
just like, it doesn't give you any reason to feel like you're being rewarded as a viewer through the show.
We find
No
out
payoff.
that,
No
yeah,
payoff.
they get revived. Sakito, we find out, didn't kill his mom. She threw his blade into her, so he didn't technically kill her. Um, it ends up that, oh hey Claire, it's all right. I moved on. Yes, we are about to move on very soon. Um, Tsukito ends up killing himself and taking down the big on Myoji. The spirit weapons no longer work, and I put at the I put this because it was like really odd. While he didn't kill his mom, I'm assuming he did kill all the others though, and then it just kind of ends. And I
Yeah.
thought that was gonna be the end of
Just
it, and I was
kind
about to
of
be so mad. Like, I mean, they give some stuff after the credits,
yeah.
really, but like it just
There's
like
some where are
plop.
they now stuff, but
And I was like, okay, this is just kind of here we
and
go.
again,
There.
it does like a credit sequence before the where are they now, before another credit sequence.
Mhm.
So the first credit sequence was again just filler. Just filling out the time slot.
Yeah, we get some more. I'm still mad about Akira tolerating Katsura. She's still kind of there with him for some reason. That was her whole story, apparently. That was me being mad about it in episode 9 didn't change it. He is her whole story. As the only female character, that sucks. And I'm like, wow. And we get some more. Just let's go fight. We got Shinsengumi. Now they can, help out Japan and let's go blitz them. So that's how it ends. We blitzed them, and
when
Tsukito is kind of a martyr,
when
kind of is a good guy, or they try to make him a good guy, kind of.
redeemable through suicide. I mean, seppuku, I guess.
Yeah. Let's rate the anime. Shine on Bakumatsu Bad Boys. If you haven't heard how we do it, if it's your first time watching, we rate our animes on 3 criteria: animation, storytelling, and vibes. And then we rank it upon all the other anime that we've seen this season. And there's a lot of them. And then by the end, we give it one big ranking, all our things put together. And then we, go on to another anime, watch it together. Animation. What would you give the animation for this anime?
I don't know if I've ever done this before, but I'm giving Shine On NF in animation. I
Oh.
did not enjoy my time looking at this show at all. It took every shortcut it could possibly take in the animation department, downright to not animating certain characters as they were laughing or talking or having characters turn their head 180 degrees in a single frame without any movement, awkward framing that doesn't convey anything in the scene. One of the hardest anime I've ever had to just find screen grabs that are like, there's nothing visually interesting for our show to even show off, you know? And at least with some
Ooh.
shows, there's that. It was really pretty. It was pleasure to watch that. It looked really cool. But that's something I can't say about this show. And I'm sorry for grilling it so hard, but man, that was rough.
I think it's okay because you are generally nice about anime usually. So I think you held it all for this one. And that is, I think, in Jules and Matt Anime Hour lore, I think that is the first F in animation you've given. So good job.
Man,
I didn't think you could do it.
you were all
I
here.
did. I didn't think you had it in you. You gave it an F for animation.
Yeah. Jules, what do you give it for animation?
First Claire says, would I watch it? No. Did I watch it? No. Would I recommend it? No. That's a no across the board. Animation, I'm giving it an F as well. It's just ain't hitting. We got those panels, like you're saying, which for no reason. A lot of it, like at first, I thought the style was kind of visually interesting, but it just ended up all looking so flat and definitely not adding anything to the character when all of it just seems so 2D, so just paper on paper. Like this, they put it cutouts on top of backgrounds, and the backgrounds felt so separate from every character, and
Yes.
it just
No
wasn't.
sense of place. We've talked about that. No sense of place.
It had no sense of place, really. Even though I don't like, even though if they may have been trying to do it on real life places, I still could have felt more like I knew the place. I still could have felt some maybe more lived in places, or it just did not feel complete, and I didn't feel attached. And you had everything going for it for these visually, on first look, visually stunning characters. You had everything going for you,
Great
where
character design,
each person has a
horrible
different
animation and
color.
execution.
Yes, it at first glance it did catch my eye, and I'm like, here we are, and I was ready for the different kind of animation style, but it just did not hold up. Dan says it's totally fair on this one. Rosie said feels like it could work better as a manga instead of an anime, and I'm cool with that. But this was not based on a manga, and
Yeah.
I feel like they like I said earlier, I think they were going through the motions of how do we make an anime? What does an anime have? This thing, this thing, this thing, this thing, without making it practical and giving it reason.
Just checking the
Whereas
boxes.
they could have done without a lot of stuff. Animes have flashbacks. Okay, let's do the same flashbacks over and over again. Let's do the opening. What happened before? We don't need that. What we got to do this thing. Yeah, so animation F for me as well. What would you rate Shine On for storytelling?
Storytelling, I'm giving it a C. The C mostly comes from the intrigue in the time period itself, and how they were able to kind of bounce off of, oh, these actual events that happened, and we're going to have our characters kind of run parallel to the that event with the ruse of it being the demon cult. Like that in concept, I like the idea, and I think it's a great setup. In off the back of this group of ragtag guys, again, that have all these different like characteristics, different skills, defining fighting styles. So it all on paper sounds good, but it comes down to execution, and in execution, it just left a lot to be desired. A lot of the developments point to point felt clunky, even though we did get there, and it just felt like there's a general lack of just being able to make the audience feel like the developments were rewarding, and that's why I'm giving it a C, because it wasn't necessarily like really bad in its storytelling department, and there were things that I liked, but I can't say there was a lot of good stuff there, if anything good. So it's skirting on a C very finely. Jules, where are you gonna put the storytelling for Shine On?
Storytelling, I give it a D, a little bit lower than yours. I mean, eventually, like you're saying, we got there. That's fine. a lot of it was throwing a lot of characters at me. And I don't want to use like confusing names as an excuse, because that's a cultural thing, and I know that that's on me, by having so many like having the names be a little difficult and all
Mhm.
that. But as well, giving us so many names and every main character having an alternative name, as well as the antagonist having an alternative name, and it's just and a lot of side characters. And while the main storyline, yes, I understood what was going on by the end, I understood the main point and it did make sense, but is it enjoyable of a story? It could have been a lot better, especially when you take a story that has been done a lot and you could have done a lot with it. We get main character, boom, he is the main guy for this group of ragtag group that is just criminals, and it's like, oh, that's so interesting, here we go. Turns out his brother's the leader of the bad guys. Oh man. But like it's just so much happening, and then we don't even get a really good payoff at all, or any payoff really. And it's just, I don't know. I don't know how to fix it. I don't know how to make it better. It's just I didn't really enjoy the storytelling, and a lot of it was just not at a pace that I enjoyed, where it's just kind of, this guy's kind of doing the thing, these guys are kind of doing the thing, and the whole Akira storyline really sucks, and I really hated that. So,
Very true.
D for storytelling. Vibes. What do we put vibes for Shine On?
Vibes. I'm giving it a D in vibes, and it mostly goes with um the interactions that we had with characters like Sogen and Suzuran, and some of Ichiban Boshi and Sakuya's interactions. That's mainly where I'm giving it the vibes rating, and also Sakuma Shozan and his sunglasses introduction. Um, like again, I really wish the show would have like gone full silly, but it wanted to be like a little silly here, and then it wanted you to take it seriously there. And I feel like it would have been better if they played off of a whole, like, something that you watch like on a Saturday morning vibe, versus, we're trying to be this high stakes tale of political tension and terror that's going on in the country at a turning point in its history.
I definitely feel like it would have lent itself better if it was more Naruto esque or Avatar, The Last Airbender esque, where it's
Yeah,
just super silly. Because you're right, when they're trying to, I mean, they didn't do many pushes into that area, but when you're really talking about the political and economical state of the world right now, and like all of the machinations between larger groups of people that, turns out, spoiler, are actually a thing in the real world, and they're trying to teach us and show us the history, which isn't bad. But like when you're dealing
isn't
with something like
inherently bad.
that, yeah, which isn't inherently bad. When you're dealing with stuff like that, give me that over the top silliness as well to kind of counteract that. And they tried a little bit. It's like dipping your toe in, but like give me that. Give Ichiban Boshi this insane instead of just let's blitz him every time. Like give him the fucking anime
Give him some
triage. Just
relatability. Give the characters some relatability. Make them feel like characters instead of just caricatures. Because that's the thing. They all feel like their character designs completely convey like everything that you need to know about them on the surface. And then there's not really anything underneath. Like with Sakuya, he's, the only person that kind of gets characterized uh, outside of maybe Akira. But Bo, like, what do we know about Bo?
nothing. He's just a
Nothing.
little
What do we
say
know
little
about
guy.
the fact that Gyataro
Oh,
and Ichiban Boshi are both orphans? Like that whole idea was something that I felt like got lost, where we could have had a great moment with Ichiban Boshi being the one that kind of was the in the orphan community, but then it's just like, oh, they're more than one orphan. Like, I mean, I guess that kind of makes sense, but Ichiban Boshi, like, he's an orphan too. Like, are we just ignoring that fact now? to characterize somebody else that way. Like that kind of seems weird. Anyways, Jules, I didn't ask, what are you gonna be rating this show Shine On for vibes?
Vibes are a little bit higher. C. I gave vibes a C because I did like mainly the doctor and the priest. Their whole side story and their connection was very interesting. I really wanted more of that. Liked it. Yeah, it's another case of I like these characters, but it's just not enough. It wasn't enough. Like you're saying, it's missing a lot of context that could have made these characters really cool, and maybe the time as well to make these characters seem individualized as further than how they look and what color they specify. And I want to see their not only backstory, but just give them something really cool to do rather than looking at Ichiban Boshi to lead the way.
And again, that's why I really think something like this, just this whole concept, it works out way better in something like Black Clover, where you have the concept of that show, because it's so long, you have all the time to do that. You can have like a whole 10 episodes where, like, let's have our main character now interact with another side character with the group, and on this side personal quest, so to speak, like they're gonna flesh out the side character, their backstory, and the connection between them and the main character. And it gives you the time to care about those characters before it starts to get into some of the more high stakes plot lines that develop. But this show kind of just feels like it wants to throw you in the mix and have you care about these characters. Oh yeah, Ichiban Boshi is a great leader. We need him here. Why?
Bro, let's blitz them. Bro, we gotta blitz him.
When has it ever been shown that having him around has been more beneficial than not? Other than the first time that he like knocked some guy out, which any of the rest of you could have easily done, I am sure.
Claire says, I see you're a strong, tough guy who, when the chips are down, is strong and tough. Just turn off the TV. Fuck. You know?
Next.
Pretty much, basically. But we're almost out of time. So that's where we rated Shine On, Bakumatsu Bad Boys, and all of those contaminated together. We get a full score for Shine On as a D. Shine On is officially a D tier anime. For Shine On, and we got it here.
Yeah,
first D tier anime. We filled it out.
Did we have a D tier season 1?
I don't think so.
I don't think we did.
I think we had some F tiers, but no D. I did contabulate. Now this season I'm doing it with numbers, and each letter gets a number score. So yeah, it's there it is. D. I expected worse, to be honest. Hey, it's not an F.
D in a way is like almost worse than F. It's like, it's for me like D like, you know, D is like it was really boring, and it like also I don't recommend it. F is just like there are certain things that will automatically spike something down into F regardless. It's just like there's egregious things in this show where I just never want to ever have anybody see it.
That was Monogatari, right? Yes. As an F, yeah, Bakumonogatari. Claire says, remember, you saw it here first. You just wish you had it. We watched it, so you don't have to. Thank you for everybody that did watch it, though. We appreciate it. Going on these journeys together. That's what it's all about. Finding anime, figuring out what you like, maybe discovering a new one, maybe discovering one that you didn't really like. And now we know. Now you have an opinion for it. And you could say that Jules and Matt said it so it is. Matt, now wiping Shine On Bakumatsu Bad Boys out of our head forever, we get to pick a brand new anime. Matt is shaking up the chest. All the anime here are up for grabs. What are you hoping for? Let us know in the chats right now. There are so many anime to pick from. Some of them are mine and Matt's. Some of them are from you, the viewers. And the next anime that's going to be our personality for the next couple weeks is, you picked up 2.
I did. I'll put the other one away, but this is the one in my hand. This one's The God of High School.
The God of High School.
That's my pick.
Oh, that's your pick.
Yeah, it's been in there for a while.
Pick another bad one, I will punish you. The God of High School.
Ooh, dang, the other one that fell out. Oof.
Oof.
Nobody learned.
So watch the God of High School episode 1 through 4 by next Wednesday, and we're going to talk about it next Wednesday. Just for clarity, I have not seen it. Matt, you put it in there. Have you seen any of it?
I've not seen it.
Oh, what'd you hear about it then? How'd you?
I had somebody recommend it to me way back when it first came out in 2020, and no, they said it was really good. They said I
Okay.
would probably like it. This one has 13 episodes in its first season, so maybe we do 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 in the middle.
I think
Or
5 in the middle.
sure, yeah.
So watch episodes 1 through 4 of the God of High School by next Wednesday. We're going to talk about it. Is that what it's called?
The God of High School.
The
I was
God of High
laughing at
School.
Claire's message.
Oh. I have not heard about it. I don't know anything about it. So we're going to watch it together. We encourage you to watch along with us so you can have an opinion, give us your thoughts as you're watching it. Maybe you'll find your next favorite anime. So that's what we're going to do. So does that mean I get to put another one in the chest? Because that was yours?
Yes.
Oh, buddy, I get a new anime pick in the chest. So I'll let y'all see that next week. But the God of High School next week. Matt, where can they find you on the internet?
Tomorrow you can find me on my YouTube. Tomorrow, Thursday at 1 p.m. I'm gonna be playing some Cataclysmo. Or you can follow me on my socials. Just add an ITS at the front. Make it's Matt_Galley. When we're not here shining on Jules, where can the people find you?
You can find me on my social media at JulesTheHuman, at JULES the Human on all social media. I've been posting a lot on Instagram stories. Haven't been posting a whole lot on YouTube, but if you're watching on Twitch, I only stream on YouTube now. So go check out my YouTube, go subscribe. Haven't posted a whole lot of videos or anything. I've been kind of on a summer break. I'm going to the beach this weekend, so no streams this weekend. I'm going
each.
Yeah, I'm going to another state next weekend. So I'm just going. It's vacation time, so we're vacationing and doing all that stuff. So yeah, but I'll still be here for this podcast every Wednesday, and you could see the podcast on Spotify if you'd like. If you are a Spotify user, just look up the Jules and Matt Anime Hour, and it'll be there for you to watch as well. But see you next week for the God of High School episode 1 through 4. Go ahead and watch that. Claire says, what you're saying, you're not streaming on YouTube. So what I'm saying is I do stream on YouTube, but I'm not streaming on YouTube. I'm not streaming on YouTube for I don't know when. Whatever, man. I'm just living my life. I got some new Versace glasses, trying to go to the beach. trying to get my sun on and vibe. Anyways, God of High School, 1 through 4.
All tanned up.
I'm gonna be super dark and sunburnt.
Beach episode.
Episode. Yes. Okay, I'll be streaming. Catch it from Wednesday from the beach. But yeah, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.